The crowd in the Galactic Coliseum fell silent. 50,000 beings from 40 different star systems held their breath as the announcement echoed through the massive arena's translator system. Species who communicated through color shifts turned pale. Species who expressed fear through scent filled the air with something sharp and acidic. A human had entered the grand tournament. Ethan Cross walked into the arena floor like he was strolling through a park on a Tuesday afternoon. He rolled his shoulders once, cracked his neck, looked around at the impossible scale of the alien crowd with mild curiosity, the same way a man might look at an interesting cloud formation. He was unremarkable to look at, a medium height by human standards, which meant he was shorter than most of the competitors who'd walked out before him. Brown hair, a jaw shaded with stubble, eyes the color of old bark. No cybernetic enhancements. No battle armor beyond the standard-issue tournament bodysuit. He had a small scar above his left eyebrow that nobody had bothered to ask about yet. They would. In the announcer's booth, the Vrelian commentator, a seven-limbed creature named Kos, adjusted his vocal membrane and leaned toward the microphone. Beings of the Galactic Circuit, Kos announced, his translator broadcasting in 47 languages simultaneously, representing the Terran Confederacy, contestant Ethan Cross. Classification, Standard Biological. Home planet, Earth. A pause. Earth, Kos repeated, because even he couldn't help it, which is, for those who have forgotten, classified as a Deathworld. Category 5. The silence stretched longer. Category 5. Most species in the galaxy had never set foot on a Category 3 world. The gravity alone on Category 5s was considered medically dangerous to most humanoid forms. The atmospheric pressure, the microbial load, the temperature extremes, the wildlife, every single variable pushed deep into the red on galactic habitability scales. And yet humans were born there. Lived there. Thrived there. The doors on the opposite end of the arena floor groaned open. Zyrex Thorn did not walk into the arena. He arrived. 7.5 feet of Valerian warrior, his species' natural exoskeleton gleaming under the arena lights like polished obsidian. The Valorians were among the most physically dominant species in the known galaxy, their bones reinforced with a calcium silicate compound that made them nearly unbreakable, their muscle fibers 3 times denser than the galactic average. They had 17 confirmed tournament victories. They had never lost a grand circuit match by submission. Zyrex stopped at the center of the arena and looked down at the human. He cocked his head. His 3 amber eyes blinked in sequence, a Valerian expression of confusion so deep it bordered on offense. "You," Zyrex said, his voice a low rumble that the translator rendered with perfect bass, "are the one they sent?" Ethan looked up at him. "Yep. You are smaller than a Valerian juvenile." "Probably," Ethan agreed pleasantly. Zyrex made a sound that was somewhere between a laugh and a warning growl. He stretched to his full height, a display that had made 3 previous opponents step backward, and spread his arms wide, his exoskeletal plating fanning outward across his shoulders like a threat display. "I have shattered the spines of Kreth warriors," Zyrex announced. "I have crushed the cranial shells of Deathworld champions. I have competed in 41 matches across 11 star systems." He lowered his gaze to the human standing calmly before him. "What are you, little Terran? What possible claim do you have to stand in this arena?" Ethan tilted his head and seemed to genuinely consider the question. "I grew up on a planet," he said finally, "where the plants try to kill you." The match opened with Zyrex's opening charge, a thundering, ground-shaking attack that had ended 12 previous matches before the first minute elapsed. Ethan sidestepped. Not dove. Not rolled. Not stumbled backward in desperate retreat. Sidestepped. Clean, economical, almost bored. He moved like a man stepping around a puddle on his way to work. Zyrex's momentum carried him 2 full meters past where the human had been standing. He spun, faster than anything his size should be able to move, and slashed backward with a limb strike that should have connected with Ethan's skull. Ethan ducked under it. In the booth, Koss was scrambling to commentate. Remarkable evasion from the Terran, he appears to be using. Koss consulted his data terminal, something called reading body language. Terrans apparently developed this as a survival skill when dealing with their planet's megafauna during early childhood. Zyrex pressed his attack. He was not stupid, he was a veteran, disciplined, experienced. He adjusted. He slowed his strikes, added feints, tried to cut off angles. And Ethan Cross absorbed the education of every feint, every combination, every microtel in Zyrex's exoskeletal movement, the way a machine absorbs data, efficiently and without emotional reaction. This is what Earth does to you, Ethan thought, not for the first time. It doesn't make you strong. It makes you aware. On Earth, the difference between reading a predator's body language correctly and reading it wrong was not a tournament loss. It was whether something ate you. Ethan had grown up in the Australian Outback Reclamation Zone, a stretch of rewilded territory where the environmental revival programs had returned native megafauna alongside several highly optimistic introduced species that had subsequently become invasive apex predators. He had learned to read the world like a sentence before he learned to properly ride a bicycle. Zyrex feinted left and drove a crushing right arm strike directly at Ethan's center mass, a blow that carried enough force to buckle reinforced steel plating. Ethan caught the arm. The crowd went absolutely insane. Not catching it like someone catching a ball, catching it like someone had been waiting for exactly that specific moment, like the last 4 minutes of combat had been a single exhale before the action. Ethan's hands clamped around the Valorian's striking limb at the joint where exoskeletal plating met the softer connective tissue underneath, a vulnerability that no galactic fighter had apparently thought to probe, because no galactic fighter had spent years learning the exact anatomical weak points of creatures that wanted to eat them. He twisted. Zyrex let out a sound that had no translation. The joint gave way with a crack that the arena's audio system picked up and broadcast to 50,000 suddenly very quiet beings. Ethan didn't let go. He stepped inward, into Zyrex's space, where the alien's size and strength became a problem for Zyrex rather than for him, and applied leverage. Clean, ruthless, textbook leverage of the kind that didn't require strength. The kind that required understanding. Understanding of angles, of joints, of where a structure fails when you apply precisely calibrated force at precisely the right vector. His wrestling coach in Year 9 had called it geometry. His father, who had survived 3 encounters with fully grown saltwater crocodiles, had called it knowing where to push. Zyrex's secondary arm swung around in a desperate counter, and Ethan's free elbow met it with a check block that redirected the momentum sideways, the impact singing up his arm in a bright line of pain that he noted and filed away and completely ignored, because pain on Earth was not a stop sign, it was information. He took Zyrex to the ground. 7.5 feet of Valerian warrior, calcium silicate bones, 41 matches of galactic tournament experience, and Ethan Cross walked him down like he was putting a particularly stubborn fence post into resistant soil. Methodical. Patient. Completely, almost insultingly, calm. The second crack came when Ethan applied the final lock. The arena's match sensors lit up red. The referee signaled. Match over. Koss was silent for a full 4 seconds, an eternity in live commentary. He started. Stopped. Tried again. The Terran contestant, Ethan Cross, has won by submission. The Valerian champion, Zyrex Thorn, has sustained fractures to 2 limb joints and is being attended to by medical staff. Another pause. For context, Koss added, because he felt the galaxy needed it, Valerian bone compound has a tensile strength of approximately 400 megapascals. To our knowledge, no competitor in Grand Circuit history has fractured Valerian skeletal structure through applied technique alone. We would like to remind our viewers, he continued, his translator somehow conveying something between professional detachment and genuine existential disturbance, that the Terran contestant used no cybernetics. No chemical enhancement. No weaponry. He used his hands. He appeared, Koss concluded quietly, to find this normal. On the arena floor, Ethan Cross rolled his shoulder, the one that had taken the redirect hit, checked it with a mild frown, decided it was fine, and looked up at the scoreboard. Someone from the medical team was rushing toward him with a concerned expression. "I'm good," he said. He probably had a bruise forming. He'd had worse from a fence post in year 9. He picked up his water bottle and waited for the next match.